In February, React team announced that they are working on the new features for React. So they are gonna introduce a new version of React, which is React 19. These changes are coming after approx 1 to 2 years. And in today's video, I'm going to take you through all the new things which are coming in React 19. I also have code examples of few of the features which I will showcase you in this video. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Neha. I make video on tech and my life in the UK. Before I start this video, I want to put a disclaimer. As per React team, these new features should not be used on prod right now because right now React team is working on these. So this is still work in progress. If you are watching this video and want to try all the things which I'm going to share today, I would request you to please go back and check React's official website and look at the status what the status of that particular feature right now is. Okay, so cool. So let's start one by one. All the good features of React coming in 19th version. There are 7 new features coming in React. The last one, which is new hooks, there are 3 to 4 new hooks coming. I just put them in one, but these are the overall new features coming. So let's start with the first one, which is React compiler. So in React 19, React compiler is going to be introduced, which is known as React Forget. Now the advantage here is, first, we don't need to do any code change for React compiler as of now. This will be there automatically when we will go on React 19th version. So we as a developer don't need to do anything. However, again the disclaimer, please wait for the final announcement from the React team once it will be publicly available to use, that how to use it. Now here the advantage would be that right now, as a React developer, our most of the time goes in identifying that how we can optimize the performance of our React application. So one of the tasks is to stop re-rendering of the components. And for that, we have hooks like use memo. But here, React compiler is going to auto-identify that which are the components it has to stop re-rendering. Can you imagine the how much powerful it would be? So the advantage is now, as a developer of React, I don't need to worry about the re-rendering much. I don't need to use memo hook now, because React compiler, React Forget, will be doing this work under the hood by itself. So the use memo will go away, the re-rendering identification React Forget will do, and as a result the performance of the application will be better. As a result, we developer would be writing less. We will be not using use memo hook. The code will become more cleaner to read, and yep, we will be pretty happy with this. So React compiler is going to be the first thing, which is the most excited thing coming in React 19. Next thing in React 19 is server components. I believe everyone right now in React community very well versed with server components, especially with Next.js. And we can agree that this is an awesome feature. In React 19, the server component support will be available in React natively. Now here I'm very excited to see how the conversation in the tech community will go. For example, if you have a React project which you wanted to migrate and you have a use case only for 1 or 2 server components, so you would like to go to the React 19 path or to the Next.js path. So these conversation I'm very excited to have. But as of now, with React 19, server component support would be available in React 19. It would be same, like you have to write use server on the top of the component or the file to mark it as the server component. So use server, this directive support would be there too, just like in Next.js, to be honest. So everything will remain same, but the server components is coming. Pretty good. The next thing is support of web components is coming in React 19. So if you doesn't know about what is web components, do not get confused that web components are your components like in ReactJS, Angular, Vue. As the name say, web. So we are creating the components natively in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So take an example, you want to create a carousel. So instead of using React, Angular, Vue, you are just creating a carousel in HTML, CSS, and JS. Now that carousel is created, now you want to reuse in your different projects. So you can export that carousel as a component. So your CSS, your HTML, your JavaScript will be inside that component, and you can use or reuse that component in any of the project, as well as where you are using this web component, they can also add their functionality above that. Take an example of HTML component like dropdown. So if you will use inspect dev tools, and when you open that dropdown HTML in the inspect dev tool, you will see some shadow DOM. So web components, actually the HTML, CSS, JS which we are writing, those are actually coming as a shadow DOM. So web component in itself is a very powerful feature. And right now, if you want to integrate web components in ReactJS, you have to dependent upon third-party packages. You have to do a lot of writing of code. In React 19, the support of web components is coming in React 19. However, there is not much code, there is no code released by the React team, so I can't show you. But as per their words, the integration of web components in React 19 will be seamless. So here, I am hoping that instead of relying on third-party packages, and instead of writing a lot of code just to integrate web components with React code, it would be a very simple and cleaner way of integration. So I'm looking forward towards web components. I got to know about web components around 5 to 6 years back. I was pretty excited, but at that time the support was not much there. But as the web is progressing, the web component support is, I think, getting better and better. I haven't played with web components in last few years, but I'm hoping that. So yeah, web components are also gonna come in React 19, which is a huge good thing. It is gonna give a lot of power, a lot of advantages to the developer to reuse the component. The next feature is assets loading. So currently what happens is, whenever our users are looking at our ReactJS application, we have style sheet, fonts, images, these are the assets there. So there would be some flickering happening while our assets or images or styles are getting loaded in the background. And this is an issue. How we used to solve it? What we have to do is, to solve it, we have to add the custom code to identify that when these assets are ready, and according to that, we will make our view ready. However, in React 19, React is going to take care of this. So what it will do is, in the background, all our assets are getting loaded as well while the user is going through our content. And as well as what will happen is, React also added suspense as a life cycle. And the moment these assets are ready, it will get to know that, okay, this particular asset is ready to be displayed, and it will make that asset available. So that flickering of the style will go away. Adding the custom code that which particular asset is getting loaded, that will go away. The load time of the page will improve, because now in the background, React is working on making these assets loaded. So that will also is a better point for the performance. And as well as, React has added the loading APIs, resource loading APIs like preload, pre-init, to provide more control over these assets, so that when these assets should be loaded, when they should be initialized. So a lot of good advantages are coming here. A lot of control is given to developers. Again, we are writing less code. React is doing heavy lifting under the hood. The performance is improving, the page load time is improving, developer experience is improving, and customer experience is also improving. So overall, it's a pretty good feature. And sorry, and I would say that this was actually required. Small things matter, and if you have worked with the assets, you know how much pain they are. The next is the document metadata. Currently, when we want to update any title of the page, metadata of the page, we have to create a separate component, and we have to write some custom code there. whenever the route is changing, we update our this component with the new title and the metadata. However, we would say that now we are very used to of this approach, but I would disagree that I don't want to do this. I don't want to create a new component, as well as I don't want to create this document title, updating that with the help of the JavaScript, because there are tags available in the HTML which can help us to write the same code which we have in HTML, which is this web standard. So the good news here is React 19 is actually bringing that support here. So our tags like title tag, link, meta tag, these tags which are available in HTML, we can directly use them in React 19. We can write them in our ReactJS component. We don't need to do any JavaScript support. These tags will be directly supported in our component, which is a big thing. Our code will be more cleaner. We don't need to do extra code to update them separately, to add in our HTML and all that, or use any third-party package like Helmet. We can directly use these HTML tags in our React component. So huge thing. Again, developer experience is improving here, which is a big deal. I would definitely would like to write less, more cleaner, more readable, rather than writing a lot to achieve the same thing. The next changes we have is actions, use hooks, and form hooks. This use hook and form hooks are actually our new hooks. They are related to actions, so that's why I'm showing you all these three together. What we are gonna do now is we will go into the action. I will show you the code part of this, and then we will go and learn hooks, use hook and form hooks also. Before we get into that, I wanted to show you this blog by React team. This is the official blog which they released on 15th February, where they announced that what is coming, which is React 19. I will give the link of this blog in the description block. Please go and read whenever you get the time. Now here I wanted to show you the actions. So if you will look at this code, let me zoom. This looks like a HTML code. You can use this in your JSX also. What I wanted to show you is this one, action search. What is this action? This action attribute is now supported in ReactJS. So before this, what we used to do is, if we want to submit a form, we will be using our React events. But with the action, we can just let go of that event. We can just write action attribute, and the value of that attribute would be the method you want to run. Now the beauty here is, because we have now server component support, anything which you are passing in action, in this example is search, this could be a server action. So basically it could be a synchronous, asynchronous. You can have a server component also, which will be doing a communication between client. So this form would be at client side. The search is gonna run at the server side. Now, how this is important? Why this is important? So right now the ReactJS applications are client side, but if you want that on submit of the form, you want a server code to be run, this can be now possible by using action attribute and the server component. So now our client side, server side communication is achievable in React 19. The form data you want to submit to the server is possible because of action and the server components. It could be synchronous, it could be asynchronous. So that is also there, as well as the form communication. You want to put it in database, you wanted to do whatever the communication of your form data, that can be done very easily in React 19 onwards. So pretty good thing. Now with this action, because we are doing server and client side communication, there are three new hooks got introduced. So if you will see, use form status, use form state, and use optimistic. We will go one by one with the code example and of the form also. So we will go in that. So what is the change for us as a developer? Now with the help of the action and server components, we can make client side and server side communication easy. We can submit our form content or data to our server. If we don't want to be on server, client side we were already doing it, so pretty good. Action is gonna help us in handling the asynchronous or synchronous. This is gonna be a function, so which is a pretty good thing. Cool. So let's go to the code now. So I have this repo. I will give the link in the description block. So in this repo, I have used Vite, and in package.json, I'm using experimental to enable my React 19 all these features. If you will go to the source, I have app. In this app, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples. So top two are for the use hook. Action is for action. Then you have use optimistic use form status and form state. We will go one by one. So let's go action first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say test, and I'm gonna say test at v.com. Submit. You can see the data is coming here. Not a big deal. You know that how this is done. But the interesting thing is that how we are writing the code. So first let's start with the line number 9. So this is our component. And what we are doing is, this is our form, simple form. The magic is happening here. This is the action attribute which will be supported in React 19, and then it has submit data. Submit data right now is here. It is not a server based component, but you can make it. Now if you will see, when I'm doing submit data, I'm passing here user data. So this is asynchronous. User data is here. Now what is happening is how I'm capturing the data of the form. What I'm doing is user data.get username. This username is the name of the input, and this is how I'm getting the data. Right now this is client side, but you can move it to the server component, and imagine this new user, this form data will be available on the server. So now if you wanted to send it to your database, you wanted to do some work on this, you can very easily do it. So here for you, the takeaway is action, this submit data, and how this is gonna run on the server side or client side, both. So this is how you are gonna use your action in the forms. So yeah, this is about your action, and you can go and play around with this code example after this video or right now. So we are done with the action. Now let's move to the use hooks. Use hook is a new hook which is getting introduced in React 19. This hook will simplify how we use promises, async code, or context. So let's go in the code again and see how this is gonna look, how we can work with this. So this is the first use, users. So what I'm gonna do is I will comment my action and go to the users. Let's see what we are getting in the output first. So it is just doing a API request. If you will see, this is just doing a API request, and our data user list is getting created. I will show you in the network also. Let's do. So somewhere, yeah. So you can see this is a request going. Okay, so let's go back and see what is happening. So let's go to users. So we are using import use from React. This is our fetch post. This is just doing a fetch request. That's it. This is how we are doing it before React 19 also. Now on line number 8, we have post items. This is our component. Now main thing is happening here. So if you will see the syntax, this is how the syntax is. Const users equals to use. Users, you can write whatever you want to name. So it should be relevant, whatever the result you want from use to come and store here. So in my case, I'm doing an API request with the help of the fetch post, because fetch post is responsible for get call. I will be just putting it in the use, and the users will be returned here. So that's why it's the user. Now I'm not using use effect. Before React 19, if you want to do an API request, you have to use effect. Here we don't need to use it. We can directly do the API request. Second, we are not using state, because my results are here, users. I can directly use it to create my list. So this is the first use of use hook. It is simplifying how we are doing the async code promise part. Okay, so now let's go and look for the next use case of the use hook, our context. Uncontext. Let me go back to here, and you will see that this card is coming and the theme is getting changed. Simple. Now let's go to the code and see what is happening. So same, we are doing create context as we are doing right now. This is our theme provider. Same thing. It has our toggle theme function, and we need theme sorry, to know that which theme it is. Everything is same, but the main thing happened at the line number 20. So if you will see, again we are using use, but here instead of one, we are getting returned two things. One is theme and another is toggle theme, which is our function. And what we are doing is we are passing theme context in this, which is this great context. We are passing it here, and then when we are clicking on the button, our toggle theme function is getting enabled, and as per the theme, the value we have, the toggling is happening. So theme changing is happening. So this is how we use the use hook for the context also. So again, pretty clean way of using it. I love the new hook use, especially for the API calls and the theme handling. So that's why I've created this example for you folks. So you can go and play around with this. So, okay, sorry, I closed the app. So yeah, this is about the use hook. And one more thing I want to highlight here is use. You can see this is coming from React directly. And for action, we don't need to import anything. The support is already there, so you don't need to worry about it. The last part of React 19 is form hooks. When I was showing you actions at that time, I showed you 3 new hooks: use optimistic, use form status, use form state. Now we are gonna get into those hooks and understand where to use this hook, how to use this hook. Before I jump over the explanation, I wanted to show you these hooks within diagram so that it would be easier for you to understand initially the use case of these hooks. So I have a form here, and in this form I have name and email ID and submit button. I have action submit. We already know about actions. So these hooks are gonna help or simplify the way we handle form data in ReactJS currently. It will simplify with communication of client side and server side of form and their data. So when I'm submitting data, the action submit will come in action. But while that action is executing, because this could be async or synchronous, at that time I want to show my user some optimistic message or state that this is happening. So with the help of the use optimistic, I am showing John submitting. Now this John is the value I captured from my input field. So this is a dynamic, and submitting is a hard-coded text. I can also show an initial state. So when the user is looking at it, there must be an initial state, and once the form submit happened and the form is going, the action is happening, at that time this will be changing accordingly. Once the action is done, this state will fade away automatically. So this is the use of use optimistic. Remember, optimistic means we are showing an optimistic or positive state to our user. Now while our action is happening, we also want to know what is the status of our form. It is pending or not. So we can use form status hook to get the pending state. If it is true, then we can show submitting. Otherwise it will go back to submit or something else. So to get to know the form status pending or not, we will use form status. The next hook is use form state. Now action has been submitted, but we want to know if it is a success or error. So what we can do is we can use form state, and in that we can put some logic that if the input, for example in this example, is John, then only show it as, return it as a success, otherwise show it as an error. If you will go to this blog of React, I'm not sure if they have that example, but somewhere I saw their example. They are taking the example of, let's see, yeah, here. Yeah, this is the example which they are using. So if you want to, when you are adding the item to the cart and you wanted to show out of stock, or you wanted to show it is submitted, you can do this. So add it to the cart, couldn't add to the cart, the item is sold out. So this is another example, and what I'm showing you is another example for error and success. This can be done with the help of the use form state hook. So this is how visually you can remember these hooks. Now let's go back to the code to understand this. So the first one we are gonna do is form status. Let me go back, refresh this. So this is use form status example, and I have a button here. When I click, you will see this is coming submitting. Before React 19, obviously you would say this is pretty easy, but here the thing is that we are doing it with the hook. So we are getting use form status from React DOM. This is the import I'm doing. Now how to use this hook? We are looking at the pending state. So on line number 4, we are doing use form status and getting the pending state. In button, the text is getting changed by just checking the value it's pending, then submitting, otherwise submit. Now the thing here is we are using action here. So these hooks will come very handy when you are using action, because again it could be asynchronous, synchronous, server side. So in action we are having form action. This form action is a fake function which is just doing some delay so that we can have pending state for few seconds true, and then it will change to false. So this action, while this is pending, how would we get to know? By using this hook use form state, getting pending state out of that, checking if it is true, then show submitting, otherwise show submit. So this is how you use form status. Now next, let's see how our form state works. So I will comment this out and uncomment our form state. Go back to the browser. You can see we have a name, submit, and what I'm gonna do is, let me just clean this. I will first do the success. So I will put John, and you can see welcome is coming. Now I will put Mary and submit. Oops, wrong username. So now let's go back to the code and understand what is happening. I will start from here. This is our form and our action is form action. Now how to use this hook? Form state comes from React DOM. Please remember this. And how to use it? So we have this syntax. Use form state. This is our submit form action. This is a function. Form action is also a function, and message is our message, which basically the text. And this is our null. Initially it is null. We are going to talk about this in a while. So now what is happening here? So in our action, you will see form action is here. So this is our action. In submit form, this is here. So when we are doing the action, the submit form will come in the action. If you will see, we haven't defined form action anywhere. It's not defined anywhere. It is just here and here. So with the help of this hook, this submit form, which is the input here, will become the output here. So submit form is available in a sense in form action. So when I'm doing action form action, this submit form is getting executed. Now in submit form, we have previous state and we have form data. We are getting the name out of it because this is what we wanted to check. We wanted to check the name is John or something else. So that's there. And this is our logic. If it is name is John, then return success and text should be welcome. Else return false and text should be this. And this previous state, initially you will get null because there is no previous state. When you first time you are gonna run, this is basically null will come, previous state here. Okay. After that, we will have the updated state always coming. So for this example, now I will open my console. Let me refresh it, clean it, and let's start with the success case first. So I will put John. You will see null because there is no previous state. This is our initial state. And now what I will do is I will put Mary, submit. Now you can see this is the previous one because right now our error is coming, but this state is the previous state. Okay. Now I will again go and put John, which is a success case. I will put welcome, and you will see the previous state is false. Oops, wrong username. So there are two things are happening. You are getting a previous state, that what was the previous state, plus you are also having the state based on your condition. You wanted to show welcome, you wanted to show error, what you want to do. Okay, so this is happening here. Now let's talk about this message because we haven't talked. In this message, let's talk from this message will be available. So whatever the output of this submit form return, it would be available in the message. And that's why on line number 28, we are doing just message.text because we are not showing success. We are just accessing this. So if I will check this from oops error, now let's go back here and do once again, let's go for the error. You will see oops error. Okay. So this is how your form state looks like. This is how you will use it. Again, remember, actions could be asynchronous, synchronous, it could be server. So you can think about different use cases where you can use this this particular hook. And from my point of view, this is pretty awesome. So let's go for the last hook, which is use optimistic. So what I'm going to do is comment this on comment optimistic. Let's go to the browser and let's see what is happening here. So here I am, an initial message. This is an example, and I will put username John. You can see John sending was coming. I will do it again so that you can have a look. Can you see John sending is coming? So this is our optimistic state which we are having. Now let's go to the code and see what is happening here. I would also encourage you, just go a little bit back and see that visual diagram. Let me show you again this one to understand that what is the use of use optimistic. So here, if you will see, a lot of things are happening. We will go step by step. So the first thing is use optimistic is coming from React, not React DOM. If you remember, our form state was from React DOM. Our use form status was also from React DOM. But this is the hook which is coming from React. Okay, and now let's go to the return first, return block, to understand what is happening. So we have our form here, which is straightforward. I don't think so I have to explain anything here. We have an action here, submit data. I'm not going to talk about this part as of now. So we will go on the top to understand the syntax of our hook, which is use optimistic. So the syntax is here. Definitely this is too much right now. So what I will do is, first I will cut this from here, so I will make it more readable. So you have optimistic messages, you have a function add optimistic message, and then also you will have more inputs here. So whatever the input would be here would be the output here. This is how all the hooks work. With this, we have reached to the end of this video. I wanted to share with you that I have also written a detailed blog on Free Code Camp on React 19 features. So whatever I have explained you, the code example I have given, I have also put that the same content, same information in that blog. So if you are someone who love to go through the text rather than video, I would suggest you please go and read that blog, and I would be very thankful if you will share this content in your network, at your work, at your college, at your community, your Discord, Slack, wherever your community is meeting. Again, I would repeat the same thing. If you have any questions, if you have liked my content, please let me know in the comments. I'm waiting. I would love to read about your feedback. Take care.